Welcome to Elaine Ministries. There is no other foundation than Jesus Christ. Join Carol as she shares the Word.
Destiny. Destiny. Because you see, I had come to a place in my life which I was ready to enter into my destiny. And you know what? I blew it decades ago. Oh, you know, Carol, I've never blown it. Well, if you haven't, I'm going to celebrate you tonight. But I did. God had set the stage, and I was to step into my destiny. But instead, I ran away, got out of church for 2 years. The worst 2 years of my life. And you talk about suffering, knowing the calling of God on your life. I didn't even want to watch Christian television. I didn't want to do anything that would remind me. How many of you have ever been there? Could I see your hand? Running is not a great place to be. And I thought to myself, you know, maybe I could fine-tune my skills and be a radio announcer, a DJ, something. And the call of God, I'd sleep with it. I'd wake up with it. It was there. And so I said, Lord, I see. And the Lord spoke to me and he said, I'm a redeemer of time. Some of you sitting in here, you need to know Jesus is a redeemer of time. There may be some things that you have lost in your life because you made wrong decisions, or you were ignorant, or you weren't sensitive to the time, or you didn't take serious enough where God had brought you to. And that was me. And I began to cry out, God, redeem the time. Redeem my time. Redeem, Lord. And the last 2 years, I would find myself out walking in front of my neighborhood, praying, and I'd pass people, and I'd think they're going to think I'm nuts. I'd be in the car praying, God, that I may fulfill my destiny, the purpose, the plan of God. I do not want to face you, Lord, unless I have finished in my course. I want to run my race to win. And I've been crying it out like I have never cried out before. And I came in to my house, and I thought, oh, I'd been praying out in the park. The water was pretty. I was out walking. And I threw myself, I thought, I'm going to just go up and take a shower and get ready. And I couldn't. I was so burdened. I threw myself at the floor in front of my sofa. And I said, God, have mercy on me. I have an overwhelming desire in me to live and to fulfill the purpose and the plan of God upon my life. And the Lord spoke to me, and he revealed keys, and I won't get into it right now, but he said, I'm going to give you keys to fulfill your destiny. He said, there's many out there that are worshipers of me, that love me, that walk upright with me, but they don't prosper and they're not successful in all their ways, like my son David. And then he began to pull back the veil, and he said, if you want to finish your course and you want to win, I'm going to give to you keys. And he began to give me keys, which right now I'm making into a book. I'm getting them together. I'll be selling them as series and books very shortly. But what the Lord gave me was purpose. He said to me, the word that I'm going to give to you is purpose. And the first thing that he said to me was P was for perception. He said, tell my people that their perception must be anointed by my spirit this year, because I'm going to move so fast, so rapidly. I'm doing a new thing in 2010. And if their perception is not anointed by my spirit, then they're going to lose out. Between Christmas and the first of the year, the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me. What he said to me was perception. I want you to listen to this word very closely. Write it down, do whatever you have to do, because this is a 2010 word. He said perception. Between Christmas and the first of the year, someone bought me a ticket with my church Sunday. Someone bought me a ticket, sent me to Colorado to a log house where it was a minister's retreat. When I got there, here came the 80-year-old man. He looked like the professor on Back to the Future. He looked a little kooky, a little fruity, and I was thinking, God, what have I got myself into? No sooner had I stepped out of the car than I stepped into a snow pocket and went all the way down, and I was trying to get up, and I was thinking, I'm freezing, just get me in the house where the warm stove is. I get in there, and he is, sometimes he puts on a bathrobe and his pajamas, and he'll sit and he'll talk, and he's around 80 years old, and I'm thinking, dear God, what have I got myself into? I let these people buy this ticket, and I'm stuck up here for 3 days. We were sitting at the table when he looked at me, and he laughs. Prophets are strange people. And I should know above all else, they're a little bit, some are very dramatic, some look a little kooky, and so I'd been teaching about perception, how important perception is. And so the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me about this gentleman as I was sitting there sizing him up, and I knew better than to speak it out. I don't speak bad about people. There are times I have thoughts, oh, they're a kook, they're a nut, they need some help. You have these thoughts, and these were the thoughts that were coming towards me. And I was thinking, what am I doing up here freezing? The lake was solid ice, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here freezing? I want to go home back to Florida where it's tropical and everything's nice. And what am I doing? I'm stuck here for 3 days. And I'm sitting with a man that looks like that nutty professor from Back to the Future. And so he's sitting there, and they give me the honored seat. I'm sitting at the dining room table. And what he said to me, he opened up and he said, I know some ministers in Florida. I said, you do? And now I had met this man in another city briefly through the same family that bought me the ticket. And when I'd met him briefly, I just disliked him. Didn't like him. I prayed for him, didn't like him, didn't really, I just thought he was a little nutty, but I excused him thinking he's helped these other people so much, he can't be all that bad. But, I just don't want anything to do with it. So the second time I'm in this house, and I'm thinking, well, how did I get here? How many of you have ever been there, where I'm at right now, where I'm going? I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I shouldn't even be here. And I'm looking at this man, and he says, I know some preachers down in Florida. I said, you do? Who do you know? And he said, Jim Croft in Boca. I said, you know Jim? And immediately I did a Holy Ghost download. And I said, I've ministered at his church for 10 years. I know this house. He sent me a picture of your house. He didn't know the people that had bought me the airline ticket that got me there in the first place. I said, he sent me a picture of this house and told me that I needed to come to this house because there's a prophet there, and I needed to go and go to this pastor's retreat and be ministered to. I said, I'm in the right place. And he looked at me and he said, while the people were in the present, that thing, not all of it, but he said, all of you, which would you rather be, obscurity or take a platform? Now, they didn't know what he had said to me. And all of them were saying, obscurity. Perception of Isaiah.